If the river calls your name at night, do not answer.
At first, Tom thought the old man was crazy, but that same night, at exactly 2 a.m., he heard a woman whisper outside his door, "Tom." And the terrifying part? It sounded exactly like his dead mother. Far away in Lagos, 28-year-old Tom sat quietly inside a small newsroom, staring at his laptop. He looked exhausted. His boss had just rejected another one of his stories. Life had not been easy since his mother died 2 years earlier. She was the only family he truly had. His father abandoned them when he was young. His younger sister died during childbirth. Since then, Tom buried himself in work because silence reminded him too much of loss. That evening, while scrolling through old online reports, he noticed a small article, 3 youths missing near Oju River. The article was short, no details, no investigation, no follow-up, but one sentence caught his attention. Villagers refused to speak about the incident. Tom frowned. Why would an entire village refuse to talk about missing people? Something felt wrong, and for the first time in months, curiosity burned inside him. The next morning, he packed his camera, recorder, clothes, and boarded a bus heading toward the remote village. The journey lasted hours. As the road became narrower, the environment slowly changed. The trees became thicker, the air became colder, and the closer they got to the village, the quieter everyone inside the bus became. At one point, an old woman sitting beside him suddenly asked softly, "You're not going to Oju Village, are you?" Tom nodded. The woman immediately crossed herself. "Don't stay outside after sunset," she whispered. Before he could ask another question, she turned away. By evening, Tom finally arrived. The village looked normal at first glance. Children ran barefoot across dusty roads. Goats wandered lazily, but something felt heavy in the atmosphere. Like fear hiding beneath ordinary life, people stared at him suspiciously. Nobody smiled. Nobody welcomed him. He approached a middle-aged man standing near a roadside shop. "Good evening, sir," Tom said politely. "I'm a journalist from Lagos. I came to ask about the disappearances near the river." The man's expression immediately changed. Without saying a word, he walked away. Another woman ignored him completely. A young boy he questioned dropped his basket and ran. Tom became confused. What exactly were these people afraid of? As darkness slowly covered the village, he found a small guest house where he rented a room. The woman managing the place looked nervous after hearing why he came. "You should leave tomorrow morning," she warned. "Why?" Tom asked. She hesitated. Then she leaned closer. "Because the river does not like strangers." That night, Tom could not sleep. Around midnight, he heard strange sounds outside. Soft whispers, footsteps, then silence. He stood near the window and peered outside. Nothing, only darkness. But as he turned away, he suddenly noticed something that made his heart pound. Wet footprints leading across the corridor. Fresh, wet footprints. as though someone had just walked in from water. The next morning, he continued asking questions. Most villagers avoided him. Others simply said, "Forget the river." But near sunset, he met someone different. An old fisherman named Pa Jide. The old man sat alone beside a broken canoe, looking frustrated. His eyes looked tired, haunted. "You came because of the river," the old man said quietly before Tom even spoke. "Yes," Tom replied. Pa Jide sighed deeply. "Many people came before you, and what happened to them?" The old man looked away toward the distant forest. "Some disappeared. Some lost their minds." Tom swallowed nervously. "Sir, what is really happening there?" For a long moment, Pa Jide remained silent. Then he finally spoke. "Years ago, before you were born, this village made a terrible mistake." The old man explained that decades earlier, severe hunger struck the village. Crops failed. Children died. People became desperate. One night, some village elders secretly performed forbidden rituals beside the river. According to rumors, they offered human blood in exchange for prosperity. After that night, things changed. The rains returned. The harvest became abundant, but strange deaths began happening. People started hearing voices calling their names from the river at night. Those who answered disappeared forever. At first, villagers believed it was superstition, until the disappearances became impossible to ignore. The first person that disappeared near the river was a little boy named Emeka. People in the village searched for him for 3 days. They searched inside the forest, abandoned houses, farms, and nearby villages. But they never found him. Only his slippers were discovered beside the riverbank. After that day, mothers stopped allowing their children to play outside after sunset. People began locking their doors early, and whenever the wind blew from the direction of the river, villagers hurried indoors as if something evil was moving with the breeze. But the strangest thing was this: nobody ever spoke openly about the river. Not during the day, not at night, not even in whispers. It was as though the entire village had agreed to bury the truth forever. Years passed. More people disappeared. The river started collecting its payment, Hajide whispered. Tom felt chills crawl through his body. "You mean a spirit?" The old man nodded slowly. "Something lives there." Suddenly, Pa Jide grabbed Tom's wrist tightly. "If you ever hear your name near that river," his voice trembled, "do not answer." That evening, Tom reviewed his recordings inside his room. As he replayed Pa Jide's interview, he noticed something strange. Another voice appeared faintly in the background, a whisper, very low, very soft, but unmistakable. Tom. His blood froze. He replayed it again. "Tom." The voice sounded wet, almost drowning. Fear slowly crawled into his chest. That night, heavy rain began falling. The wind shook the windows violently. Around 2 a.m., he heard knocking at his door. Slow, deliberate. Knock, knock, knock. "Tom." A woman's voice. His breathing stopped. That voice, it sounded exactly like his mother. Tom opened the door. Tears instantly filled his eyes. Impossible. His mother had died 2 years ago. But the voice continued, "My son, please." His hands trembled. Every painful memory returned at once. Her laughter, her sickness, holding her cold hand in the hospital, the guilt of not saving her. For one dangerous moment he almost opened the door. Then he remembered Pa Jide's warning. Do not answer. The knocking suddenly became violent. Bang, bang, bang. Open the door. The voice transformed into something horrible. Deep, inhuman, fierce, wet. Tund stumbled backward in terror. Then suddenly, silence. Complete silence. The next morning he opened the door cautiously. The floor outside was soaked with river water, and strange muddy handprints covered the walls. Fear settled heavily inside him, but instead of leaving, his curiosity grew stronger. He needed the truth. Later that day, he discovered another shocking detail. A young woman named Adaura had also lost someone to the river. Her younger brother disappeared 6 months earlier. Unlike others, she was willing to speak. "I know my brother is dead," she said sadly, "but my mother still waits for him every evening." Tom followed her home. There he met an elderly woman sitting outside with 2 plates of food, one for herself, one for her missing son. Every evening she waited, hoping he would return. The sight broke Tom's heart. That pain reminded him of his own mother waiting endlessly for a husband who never returned. Lost lived inside this village. Everywhere, Adaura eventually revealed another secret. "There's a cave near the river," she whispered. "People say the elders still go there at night." That evening, Tom and Adaura secretly followed a narrow path through the forest. The deeper they walked, the colder the air became. Soon they heard chanting and voices. Low voices, drums. They hid behind thick bushes. And there, near the riverbank, several elderly men stood holding lanterns. Village elders. Tom quietly raised his camera. Then he saw something terrifying. One elder carried a goat. Another carried a bowl filled with unknown substance. The men began pouring the substance into the river. Suddenly the water started moving violently, as though something beneath it was alive. Adaura gasped softly. One elder immediately turned. "Who's there?" The chanting stopped. Panic exploded. Tom grabbed Adaura's hand, and they ran. Branches scratched their bodies. Footsteps chased them through the darkness. But just as they escaped the forest, Adaura suddenly froze. Someone was standing ahead. A little boy, completely wet. His eyes were pale white. "Tom," the child whispered. "How does he know your name?" Adaura cried. The boy pointed slowly toward the river. Then he smiled, an unnatural smile, and vanished into darkness. That night, Tom became seriously ill. High fever, nightmares. He kept dreaming about people trapped underwater, reaching upward desperately. Among them, his mother. She stretched her hand toward him. "Help us." He woke up screaming. Adara stayed beside him all night. For the first time in years, Tom spoke honestly about his grief, about losing everyone, about feeling extremely empty. Adara listened quietly, then tears filled her eyes too. "I understand," she whispered. "I lost my father to that river, then my brother. Now my mother is slowly losing her mind. Two broken people, both carrying pain, and somehow, in the middle of fear, they found comfort in each other." The next morning, Pajide visited them urgently. "You must leave today," he warned. "The elders know you saw them." But Tom refused. "No, too many people have died already." Pajide stared at him sadly. "You still don't understand." Then the old man revealed the final truth. The sacrifices never stopped. Every few years, the elders secretly offered someone to the river spirit in exchange for protection and prosperity. That was why nobody investigated the disappearances. The entire village leadership was involved. Tom felt sick. Human sacrifices for decades. He immediately decided to expose everything publicly. That night he prepared his camera and recordings. But before dawn, screams erupted outside. The guest house was burning. Villagers gathered in panic. Tom and Adara escaped through the back. "They're trying to kill us," Adara cried. The forest became their only hiding place. Rain poured heavily again. Thunder shook the sky. Then suddenly, from deep within the darkness, Tom heard it. "Tom." The voice again, closer this time. The river. Without realizing it, he slowly began walking toward it. Adara grabbed him desperately. "No." But the whisper became louder, hypnotic, emotional, painfully familiar. "My son?" His mother's voice. He froze. Tears rolled down his cheeks. He missed her so much, more than words could explain. The voice sounded loving, gentle, real. "Come to me." He stepped closer to the water. Then another voice screamed behind him. "Tom." It was Adara. Her scream broke the trance. Suddenly, dozens of pale hands burst from the river. Tom jumped backward in horror. Faces appeared briefly beneath the water. Drowning victims, missing villagers. The river roared violently, and for one terrifying moment, Tom saw a massive shadow rising beneath the surface. Not human, not animal, something ancient, something hungry. Adara dragged him away as the forest echoed with horrible screams. By sunrise, they reached the nearest police station outside the village. At first, officers doubted them, but Tom's recordings, videos, and photographs changed everything. An investigation began immediately. Police raided the village. Several elders were arrested. Hidden ritual sites were discovered near the river. Human remains were recovered. The story exploded across the country. People were horrified. News stations called it one of the darkest secrets ever uncovered. Weeks later, the village became almost empty. Many families left. Nobody wanted to remain near the cursed river, but even after everything, strange stories continued. Some officers claimed they heard whispers while investigating near the water. One evening, Tom prepared to leave the area. Adara came to say goodbye. "You exposed the truth," she said softly. "You gave families answers." But Tom looked toward the distant forest quietly. did I? Because deep inside he still remembered what he saw beneath the water, and he knew one terrifying thing. Something was still there, waiting. As he entered the bus, Adara suddenly called after him, "Tom." He turned. "Don't ever answer if you hear your name at night." The bus drove away slowly. Hours later, Tom rested his head against the window. Exhaustion finally overtook him. Then suddenly, very softly beside his ear, he heard, "Tom." His eyes snapped open, but nobody sat beside him. Only darkness outside, and somewhere far away, hidden beyond the forest, the river continued flowing. Please don't forget to subscribe, comment, like, and share.